Ladies and gentlemen, good evening and welcome to another episode of Trudge Report. This is a recovery-based podcast, but don't worry, if you're not sober or got good and drunk at a wedding this weekend like Corey, we talk about plenty of other things, including sports, trending topics, and a good bit of nonsense. My name is Sean and I am your host. I'm joined by my good friends and fellow trudgers. Please remember to listen on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. Our videos will be posted each week so you can watch episodes on YouTube and Facebook, but as always, please be sure to download on your listening platforms. Remember to like and subscribe on all social media outlets with the handle @TrudgeReportPod. We are brought to you by Stella Mix Podcast Management and our wonderful producer and editor, Miss Janine Stella. Gentlemen, good evening. Happy recording Monday. We have a very, very special night tonight, very special guest, friend of the pod who got many, many shout outs. Danny P, representing the Yukon Huskies, is here with us. He's in Florida, so we wanted to invite him on. We'll start with you, Dan. Good evening. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing great, and it's good to be here with you guys. And in my I call my three home states. I got Ohio, Connecticut, and Florida in another one of my home states right now, and just super blessed and getting that Florida feels, man.
What? Tell the listeners what are you doing here this weekend? Just a little vacation, or what brought you down to Florida?
Yeah. We had a little wedding and Mr. Cassini's and just a little vacation with the family and everything like that, and get to play golf with my good friend Sean and hang out with Happy Corey. Unfortunately, not Mr. Phillips down here.
I didn't get blown off by Sean today, but whatever.
Yeah, that's all right. It's all right. Yeah, he gets one pass per 10 years.
Wow.
What did I do?
You're supposed to golf today, Sean.
Oh, yeah. He was there when you texted me to blow.
No, that was Friday.
No, for golf today. Yeah.
Sorry. I would have, we didn't play today, though, Corey. I would have invited you. Yeah, I would have invited you, but you know how it is.
Yeah.
You know?
No, you blew Dan off.
Yeah.
Oh, you're blowing everybody off.
They said you blew me off.
No,
I had to work.
He was pumped. When I read him, I was like, "Oh, Sean just canceled tomorrow." He was so psyched, man. He was so pumped about
it. You delight in other people's misery, don't you?
Oh, he was pumped, man. He was.
Yeah, I had to unfortunately work today.
I made a remark that I can't repeat on the podcast.
Yeah, he was like, "It's 10 o'clock. He's drinking."
Yeah,
that's okay. We don't mind. We're glad to have you here, Dan. You've always been a big supporter of the show, and we're happy to have you here. So, little out of turn, but we'll go back to the great Midwest, Mr. G.A. Phillips. Good evening.
Indeed. How are you guys doing tonight?
I'm good. What's going
on? Yeah, I guess I'm the only one that didn't get the invite down to Florida, so that's cool.
See, Corey, it's not always just you.
It's not always you, Corey.
I was on there because Gabby, so
probably true.
No, I'm glad you guys had a good time. Hope it wasn't too much of a mid wedding. Because two of you guys have had pretty excellent weddings as far as I'm concerned. So, kind of tough to stack up against that, but I am happy to.
Corey almost had two weddings himself.
Correct.
Yeah, that might be more. We don't know.
Yeah, maybe 1 for 1 on my side of things with Corey and Sean.
But yeah, it's we're getting ready for Halloween up here, man. It's the crispness is in the air. The leaves are all turning colors. I'm happy to report that not once but twice in like a 5-day stretch, I have come home from a hard day's work to homemade soup, which on a nice crisp fall evening doesn't get too much better than that. So,
what kind of soup?
We had Lauren's famous sausage tortellini the other day. And then,
yeah, dude,
it was banging as always. And she mixed it up this time. Instead of spinach, we got a little kale in there. Which
I like kale in a soup. I think that's the way to go. Actually,
it was bomb. And then today was the first try at chili, and it was very good as well. So perfect fall weather dinner. So yeah, I'm happy.
Very nice. Your Browns got a big win too.
Big time.
Yeah, I'm not too excited about it, man. I'm not too excited about it.
Oddly enough, come on, man.
But whatever. It was just enough to save Kevin Stefanski's job for the week. So
for the week, right? For the week. Unlike Billy Napier at Florida, but that's another discussion. Corey, did the Eagles win? I don't know. Are you doing all right? I didn't hear from you much all weekend. How you doing, buddy?
Yeah, I'm fine, Sean. First off, since none of you bastards mentioned it, Dan, happy 10 years. 10 years sober, dude.
Today?
Thank you, brother. Yeah,
That's
today.
Oh,
congrats.
dude.
Yeah.
I forgot. You told me that on Friday. You know what? That's perfect that you're on here tonight.
Yeah.
Look at that. No coincidence.
Scrap the whole episode. Let's just jerk.
That's why I chose you guys.
That's awesome. I chose you guys. The 20th. You're right.
Yeah.
Congratulations, Dan.
Thank
in all sincerity.
Thank
furthermore,
you.
Furthermore about Dan,
more importantly, Corey said.
How do I? Here we go.
There it is.
Oh yeah, look at it. Yeah.
I got proof here that in completed treatment.
For anyone who is never going to watch this episode, Corey is holding up Daniel's certificate of completion from his treatment center 10 years ago.
I dare you to frame that and then go apply for like a big boy job and use that as your college diploma.
The only way I'm ever gonna get one.
Does it have all the P-test results on the back?
Yeah, it says amphetamines from
red lines.
Red lines.
Oh man.
Oh, dude. Yeah, I've kept that bad boy for almost 10 years now, and I've thought about giving it back to him at times, but no, fuck that. It's mine now. It's how I remember my friend.
Yeah.
I was just in my garage and I saw that today. I was like, oh my god,
perfect.
What else? There's something else. Well, there's the fact that Dan's in Florida and not one of us could invite him over to be on the fucking podcast, Sean. So that's cool. I blame you though, because I have a lot of shit going on here.
I was gonna tell him when he was telling me he was having computer issues. I'm like, just go to Corey's house. He's got like 8 monitors over there from his job. You could come here, but it's wild in here. I mean, the girls are in bed now, but I was doing homework with the girls right before this, and Catherine had a sponsee here. The lady she's mentoring and had the baby in the room with her. So it was
she hot.
It was a little wild in here. Yeah. It was a little wild in here.
Real quick time out. Corey, are you just straight raw dogging a glass of milk over there like you're 12?
Eggnog.
Eggnog.
It's eggnog.
Even worse.
Oh, you are a lost cause. Don't worry, guys. I didn't want coffee. I have some lemon tea. Right here.
Oh, I love lemon tea too, actually. Yeah.
That my mother left.
And listen, I thought I was old for bragging about soup. Good God.
Tea.
No, I was gonna
make it, man.
I was gonna make a joke like that too, Greg. Like, how old are you getting excited about soup?
I was getting bricked up over that soup, boy.
Yeah.
But I love soup too. So
yeah, soup and tea. I'll mess with it.
Soup too. So,
yeah.
What else, Corey? You got anything else for us? How did you have fun at the wedding, Corey?
Really? The wedding was fine though.
Corey was on kid duty the entire night.
Yeah. It took me a while to get Gabby to acknowledge that too. So
they were running him.
She eventually did.
I was watching kids I didn't even know.
Yeah.
I didn't even know the kids.
Hey guys, I have here. Tell me if I have a special surprise for you guys. Tell me when you can see that.
Here's the dick pic.
Is it the sponsee?
There we go.
Oh yeah, that's amazing. Yeah. No chance we were sober.
No chance.
No chance.
You guys were absolute punks.
Straight out of the New Jersey Penitentiary, right there.
What's
Dan
that?
Looks a little bit like James Dean.
What is that? Are those whitewashed jeans?
Corey, I'm not sure who you look like, but God, you were punchable.
Look at the white belt, dude.
That's I think what does it for me, dude. The white belt, like with the front of the shirt tucked in a little bit.
Yeah.
What a douche.
Yeah. That's so wild.
What a douche.
I'd like to say it got me laid, but not really.
Well, the best thing about sobriety for me is I have eyebrows now. I used to pluck them, like I just sit in the mirror and pluck them for days.
Oh yeah,
that's funny.
Those are good times, eh?
Yeah.
Congrats, Corey, Dan. That is quite an accomplishment.
Thank you, Corey. Tell them what we were doing, watching what game we were watching last night.
Oh, dude, the Giants game last night.
Oh my God.
Oh,
Dan,
we were
sorry, Dan.
I never watched them too. It was like the first game I actually watched in years.
Terrible.
How cool is this though, right? Because they were honoring Demaryius Thomas at that.
Oh yeah, I saw that.
Died at the age of 33.
Mm-hmm.
he of course wore number 88, and it was something like this. So obviously they scored 33 points in the fourth quarter, two 8-point drives for 88, and then there was something. There were two other things with 33. So it was just like, I mean, obviously a coincidence, but like definitely a big hats off. That dude, for anybody that's been a fan of the game for a long time, man, that dude was something special.
100%. And then the Giants kicker got 88,000 for missing the kick.
I had a recovery commitment last night, and it was from 7 to 8. And I remember saying to my friend Vinny, who was sitting next to me, who's a huge Giants fan as well, we were both like, man, Giants are going to pull it off, man. Like, good for them. Like that. And like, and then both of us found out what happened after the meeting.
Yeah. I haven't been into a Giants game like that. And I mean, years, honestly, dude, like for real, like years. And I was like, oh, and then Dart did it again. And I was like, oh, all right. I was like, we're actually going to do this. And then the kicker missed the kick. I was like, all right, this game's over.
Yep. Yeah, it was wild.
I mean, and that's two games this season, because when the one with Russ versus the Cowboys, where it was just like really, really exciting fourth quarter play, man. Crazy. But
I love the energy.
All right, boys. So tonight we do have. Do you have your hand raised, Corey? Was that what that was?
You can't see his hands; they're too small.
Yeah, whatever.
We have on the back half of the show, Greg has his spooky topic for us. He's going to present us. None of us know what it is, but on the front half, we're going to dive in a little bit. We've been doing some breakdown of some prayers. We did the St. Francis prayer a few weeks ago. We did the Serenity prayer. Greg brought an awesome reading from the Matthew McConaughey book last week, from the book Green Lights. And tonight we are going to break down a classic prayer, the Lord's Prayer, the Our Father, which I'm sure most, if not all of our listeners are familiar with this, either in the rooms of recovery or just from growing up or just from whatever. But there's some really cool breakdown and interpretations of this, and kind of like diving a little deeper into the meaning. It's really long and extensive, so we're not going to do all of it tonight, and we may save some of it for next week or for another episode. But tonight we're going to break into the Lord's Prayer. So I am going to real quick. I know that most people, like we said, are very familiar with it, but just in case, I'm going to share my screen, and so that it is up there. If you are new to recovery and maybe are not that familiar with it, you should be able to see it now. So I'm going to read it real quick, and then I have a couple notes and a couple comments I'm going to say, and then we'll just go around the horn, and everybody can say a few things on it. Kind of what it means to you now, what it meant to us in early sobriety. I don't think I fully understood the true meaning and power of it in early sobriety, but we'll get into that. So, Our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, power, and glory, forever and ever. Amen. That was for you, Corey. Yeah. Power and glory. So a couple notes real quick. And this is straight from Emmet Fox, who we've talked a lot about Emmet Fox on this podcast. We've done some of his readings. We've discussed him a lot. And he had a whole book or booklet breaking down, like really going in depth with the Lord's Prayer. And honestly, the first time I read through this portion of Emmet Fox's writings years ago, it really changed it. I don't want to sound so dramatic as it changed my life, but it definitely added a new element and way of thinking, not only to this prayer, but just in general about the Bible and about scripture, and just kind of our relationship with these prayers that we grew up with. So this is from 1934, from Emmet Fox's The Sermon on the Mount. The Lord's Prayer is the most important of all Christian documents. It was carefully constructed by Jesus with certain very clear ends in view. That is why, of all his teachings, it is by far the best known and the most often quoted. It is indeed the one common denominator of all Christian churches. Every one of them, without exception, uses the Lord's Prayer. It is perhaps the only ground upon which they all meet, which that alone is a very interesting comment. Every Christian child is taught the Lord's Prayer, and any Christian who prays at all says it almost every day. Its actual use probably exceeds that of all other prayers put together. Undoubtedly, everyone who is seeking to follow along the way that Jesus led should make a point of using the Lord's Prayer and using it intelligently every day. He stopped sharing for a second. And then, so the cool part about what Emmet Fox does, and part of like what's so cool about it, is he breaks down each clause. Like, so for instance, the Our Father, right? The first thing apparent to us is, what is it saying to us? Who is that? I didn't miss that. Was that Maya?
Yeah.
Hi, Maya. She can say hi if she wants.
Maya, you want to come say hi? You want to come say hi? All right.
Show us those teeth.
Come say hi.
What?
Give them a big smile.
Hi, Maya.
They want to see your teeth.
Let us see those teeth.
Yeah.
All right. Are you having fun in Florida?
Yeah.
Good. Very cool.
Right,
Keep an eye on your dad for us.
What? Oh, it's right outside on the table. Right outside there.
I said I want to stay there.
Oh, no, you can't. You got to go with that. All right. I'll let you out. Sorry, fellas.
No, that's all good, dude. We are a kid-friendly podcast. You probably hear my littlest one crying sometime here in the background.
Yeah.
So the cool thing is, the first thing is he breaks it down into Our Father, which is a very clear statement that God is our Father. Now, I know not everybody listening to this may believe in God or may believe in that type of, whatever the case may be. We've said it on this podcast many times that each individual in life in general, but especially in recovery, is free to choose their own conception of a higher power and call it whatever they'd like. We all have our own personal thoughts on that, and maybe some things that have worked for us and some things that haven't, and definitely some things to avoid. But it makes it apparent that the true nature, the true relationship between God and man is that of a father and a child. And that's always been like, I don't know if I ever actually realized that prior to learning, like reading it through the Emmet Fox lens. Like, I've always said it, and we're always taught that like God is God, Father, Holy Spirit, the Holy Trinity. God is Jesus's father, and Jesus and God are kind of one person and one being, which has always confused me growing up as a kid. And if I'm being honest, still kind of does. But it for once very simply and clearly states the relationship that, in some of our recovery literature says that, like, God is our Father, we are his child, we are, he is our principal, we are his agents, kind of stuff like that. And then the next clause is, which art in heaven. So it says, having clearly established the relationship between God and man, the fatherhood of God and the brotherhood of man, he goes on next to say, who art in heaven, right? God is in heaven, watching down on us. Emmet Fox talks a lot about like what heaven really means. It sometimes is the very traditional, simplistic view of kind of what we, at least what I as a kid remembered heaven as, like up in the sky and all around me. But he goes on to say that heaven is our manifestation of kind of what we believe and the relationships we have with people, right? It is kind of what our own extension of what we believe to be God's world and that belief system is, and it could look obviously very different for some of us. And we talked about it just a few weeks ago. Like, if I am doing nothing but spreading hate and negativity, and I have resentment, and I have all these quarrels with people, like, I'm going to meet those conditions in the next life. I'm going to meet those same types of people. If I am spreading love and tolerance and kind of that whole idea of positivity, then those are the types of people that I'm going to meet when I go to heaven, whatever I conceive that to be. So the cool thing is that this prayer is really broken down into like 7 different clauses. And the first 3 are the thy petitions, right? THY. So like, hallowed be thy name, thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. And then the other 4 are the us petitions, right? Give us this day our daily bread, forgive us our trespasses, lead us not into temptation, deliver us from evil. And again, the full breakdown of all those is is way beyond the scope of this here measly Monday night, podcast. But I want to get that started. I want to get that thing going. Like I said, I learned this prayer growing up, and I never fully, really, truly understood the importance of it and the significance of it until I got sober and started to learn about it. And I also think it's one of those things that, because it's so widely known, because it's so widely spread, and we say it at a lot of our recovery groups, it can very easily get looked over and maybe pushed aside for something new and different that we don't normally say that often. But when I learn about it and the full breakdown of it, it's pretty spectacular. So I'll stop there for now.
I have a question.
Yes, sir.
I have a question, Sean. How come people like to say, what does it say? Deliver us from the evil one. Why do people say evil one? I mean, I know why, like, I know what but like, is that like a thing, or are they just being dickheads?
I never learned it that way. It always sounds a little sarcastic to me when they say
it, right?
Like they want to stand out a little bit, and be different. I never.
Sounds like a pick me.
Yeah, who says that? I've never even heard that.
Kind of like somebody saying "power and the glory" after fucking 8 years,
like I just did.
Yeah, we love,
but that's all right, Sean. I'm just
that's
well.
That's from the mountain, though. That's from the
retreat shit that they don't teach you out here in the streets.
Well, exactly. But we should. My personal opinion.
Better get to Salton, boy.
We should have kept it. We should have kept it on the mountain just for us to have. It should have been an us thing. Now you got weirdos that's never been on the mountain saying the shit because they think it's funny.
Yeah.
Just saying. Sorry, I just derailed. You know what? I don't care.
No, that's fine. Yeah. That's fine. Why don't we go to you next then, Corey? Talk about the Lord's Prayer a little bit.
Well, I truly, it's funny. I'll say this. I did not know it. I did not know it before recovery. I had encountered it, but I did not know the words. And I quite literally learned it in the rooms of recovery when everybody was saying it. I felt like a moron because I didn't know what to say at first, but I learned it pretty quickly. But yeah, I don't know. First off, it meant I'm not gonna say it meant nothing to me because it was a prayer. But that's all it meant to me, was that it was a prayer that we said at the end of a lot of our recovery groups, or almost all of them, at least.
Yeah.
And that's all it meant to me until we were going through Sermon on the Mount there for a little while by Emmet Fox, and just the whole part about like kingdom come, like whatever on earth as it is in heaven, like the idea that we're supposed to be the example of God's kingdom, right? We're supposed to bring God's kingdom to our fellows around us and stuff. And it just, I mean, there's a reason why Emmet Fox's teachings and books and stuff align so well with recovery, right? Rooms of recovery, and they're very intertwined, going way back, obviously, but it's because that kind of stuff right along with what we're supposed to be doing. Mm-hmm. And like even in some of our literature, like particularly speaking to amends, it says something along the lines of like, our real purpose is to be of maximum usefulness to whoever, to others. Like that's talking about amends, right? So it's like, it's not, so even when you make amends, it's the end goal isn't this person has to forgive me or whatever, or like we're going to get along swell after this. The end goal is I'm going to see how I can be of maximum usefulness to this person, once more if I'm allowed the opportunity. So that kind of stuff's interesting. I'll shut up for now unless I get mad about something you guys say.
Greg, you want to go next?
Yeah. I did know this prayer beforehand, but it's funny, like growing up as in a Catholic setting and in an Irish Catholic family and stuff like that. They never before had it broken down to me. It was just what we recited, and coming into the rooms of recovery, I certainly didn't really have my conception of God and everything like that all together at this point. But like we've talked about before on this podcast, like I knew that it was working, and I could see it working in the lives of other people. The three of you guys were all three people that I could see it working in some way, shape, or form. So I knew that I had to start a connection somewhere. So even in those early days of just reciting this prayer, just getting into the rhythm of what a conscious prayer life is on a daily basis, because I think some of us need that, right? Some of us need to like get boiled down to absolute brass tacks and just be shown like this is very simply what you can do to start off your journey, and this was one of those things every day. The two big takeaways I take from it today, and after we've done more in-depth breakdowns of the whole Sermon on the Mount and everything like that, but I love the idea, and you guys have kind of touched on it and mentioned it already, but that heaven can and absolutely is right here on earth for some of us. It shouldn't be the way that a lot of people, myself anyways, have looked at it before, is it's like this system of checks and balances, and if I get enough checks in this column, I'll get to the place one day, and if I don't, or maybe I should maybe try to get some checks out of this column over here and shift them over here so that I can be a good boy and go to heaven someday. Well, why can't we have heaven right here on earth? And that's why I look at that last sentence of thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. So I take that as, that's on earth as it is in heaven is kind of like two separate little things there for a lot of people. The way that I break it down is earth is in heaven, right? It's right here with us. And if we tap into the power that we've all talked about before, it absolutely can be. And that's not to say that it just, that you don't have to be putting stuff in that good column every day. You should be, you should be motivated to do so, and you should want to do so for your fellow man and woman. And certainly the other part that really touches me is that forgive us our trespasses as we forgive those who trespass against us. And a lot of times I would just very robotically say that. But when we talk about addressing spiritual debts and, reciprocal justice and stuff like that, like it says, like, I mean, that's absolutely it right there, man. Like we can be hateful individuals. We can be chock full of resentment for one another, but real power comes in the being able to forgive, the being able to look at another person and, sure, I might have had mean or hateful things I was thinking in my head towards you until I started to look at things through your perspective, until I tried to put myself into your shoes and maybe see what you've been going through. Yeah, that whole adage of everybody's fighting a battle that nobody else knows about. So for me, that's a very powerful lesson and a good reminder to, treat everyone as you would want to be treated and try to get outside yourself and put yourself in somebody else's shoes.
Very good. Mr. Dan, give us some thoughts on this.
All right. I definitely knew this. I did about 12 years of CCD and confirmation, communion, and the whole 9 yards, but it was always just a prayer to me. You know what I mean? It was always just something I just had to say. I will say, like, one thing, like doing like a little research and like all the things you guys said, it's kind of like intertwined till we all, you know what I mean, kind of feel the same way about, the if you break it down into sections. But like doing some research, I found like, a way to connect with the global church. By using this prayer, Christians connect with believers worldwide across history who have prayed the same words. But like I take it and put my own spin on it is when I came into recovery, I knew nothing about what was happening in the recovery meeting. But what I did know was that prayer at the end, and that kind of made me feel comfortable that I knew something.
I was the same way.
Yeah, you know what I mean? And like that kind of hit, like when I was reading the information, I was like, oh, it's, like not relative to the global church, but the same thing. Like that was like something that gave me that little itch of familiarness where I was like, all right, maybe I'll stick around and I'll see what happens, And there was another thing that said, Jesus provided this prayer as a template for how to communicate with God. It's like the same thing as like I knew this, so it was like familiar to me. So for me to be someone of faith and someone that believes in God, that God can lead me and guide me, it gives me that template. You know what I mean, of how I connect and how I can live my life. And then just in the prayer itself, the biggest, that like reading it over and over nonstop, over the last 10 minutes, that like sticking out to me is give us this daily, our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses as we forgive those who trespass against us. Our daily bread, is reading that small passage I was told to read in the very beginning of things that I should do every single day, or what I should do, when I rest my head down at night. Our daily bread, things that we need, and things that are provided for us, by God, or through faith, if we have faith in something. And forgiving people and resting my head and say, where was I wrong? And doing the things I think Greg was saying, like, be a good human, and these are all things, if you break it down in the sections, that can simplify your life. Like all this stuff's relatable to real life stuff, if you let it be. And that's like, you guys, everything you guys were saying is the same thing that like I'm thinking of, like you break it down, which we all never did before. And Corey didn't, because when Corey came in, he was like 6 years old. So that's why he never knew the prayer before.
Couldn't even read.
Yeah.
Still can't read.
But yeah, no, I mean, this prayer, I mean, honestly, for me, it means a lot, especially, like today being 10 years and stuff like that. I felt like a complete oddball. And then at the end, there was this prayer, and I was like, oh, I know that, and I just, like, it just hit me, like, literally right before I was talking. I was like, that's pretty cool, man. And it's very powerful if you let it be.
Yeah, it absolutely is. And I felt the same way. I was like, oh, I know this. Like it was because everything else was so foreign. And, it should be noted for people that like the history of this, a couple of the other prayers we broke down, the St. Francis prayer, Serenity prayer, all that, those all have like an origin and like a person that wrote them in a history. And it should be noted that the Lord's Prayer, at least the way the history reads, is that it was literally direct teaching from Jesus to his disciples and to his followers. And it was found in the Gospel of Luke and the Gospel of Matthew, which, if anybody out there knows Emmet Fox, most of his Sermon on the Mount is the breakdown of the Gospel of Matthew. And that version, the two versions between Luke and Matthew were slightly different. And the Matthean version, which is the Matthew version, is what they call it, is the one that is commonly used today that we kind of all know. And I don't know. I feel like it's important to point out the history of all this stuff. So I'll leave you guys with this and this is just a quick little summation. I talked about it. Emmet Fox breaks it down into the 3 thy petitions, THY, and then the 4 us petitions. And the thy petitions are like the spiritual foundation, and the us petitions are the human needs portion of it. So, hallowed be thy name. We talked about our Father, God and man, fatherhood, brotherhood. Then the hallowed be thy name is focusing on the adoration of God's name. It represents and acknowledges the divine presence of God in our lives, right? His name is hallowed or holy. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done is the consecration stage, where you align your will with God's will, the alignment portion, recognizing that God's kingdom, and this is what Greg touched, we kind of all did, but Greg specifically, God's kingdom is a reality that can be consciously manifested on earth, right? We, each individual, can manifest God's kingdom here on earth. Thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven continues the theme of spiritual alignment by consciously applying the will of God to our earthly life, as it is lived in heaven. And then the us petitions, right? Give us this day our daily bread. This is the asking for the necessary provisions for our daily life, not just food, water, but stresses that this is not just for physical need, but also for the spiritual nourishment, right? Emmet Fox stresses that, or that clause stresses the spiritual nourishment of the soul, not just the physical. And then forgive us our trespasses as we forgive those who trespass against us. This addresses our spiritual debts. It's a powerful statement of reciprocal justice and the law of retribution and attraction, where forgiving others is a prerequisite for forgiving oneself, right? So all those well-meaning people in recovery who said, you got to forgive yourself before you can forgive others. Emmet Fox would actually say that's the opposite. We have to be able to start forgiving others before we can forgive ourselves. And I subscribe to that, right? Do unto others. Same thing with the St. Francis prayer. Let me have understanding of others before I get understood. Love for others before I receive the love. It's the same kind of concept. Lead us not into temptation. This one's for you, Corey. This is a plea for guidance and protection from missteps. It is an act of turning away from negative and evil thoughts and actions that lead us away from the higher path.
They get me every time, dude.
Stay on the path, Corey.
I can't.
And then deliver us from evil. This is the final petition, which asks for protection from all negative influences and a deliverance from any force that works against the good. So that is a quick breakdown. Like I said, we could all spend much more time on this, and maybe at a later point in time we will. If anybody wants more of it, you can just Google Emmet Fox breakdown of the Lord's Prayer. It's all over the internet. He has a book. He has a specific booklet that's taken from the bigger book, Sermon on the Mount. But if anybody wants it, they can look it up or just reach out to any of us. DM Corey and then slide into Corey's DMs and ask him. He'll be more than happy to help you out.
Enter if you dare.
Any other thoughts on that before we completely transition inefficiently to?
I say this prayer a lot when Gabby comes under possession.
Yeah.
Say that again.
I say this prayer a lot when Gabby comes under possession.
Possession. Oh,
possession.
Yeah.
Possession.
Got it.
Yeah, we've all seen
as long as she can still cook good, I guess that's all that really matters, right?
Yeah, Baked Ziti was fire last night.
That Baked Ziti was fire, dude.
Yeah.
You're always yelling at me for not inviting you, bro. What the heck, dude?
That's why you're never getting an invite to anything ever again.
I don't allow myself to go into Port St. Lucie after nightfall.
He went to
it's dangerous.
Dan, he went to a Dallas fan Super Bowl party. Dallas wasn't in the fucking Super Bowl, Dan. I don't know if anybody caught that memo.
That's one thing everyone at the wedding agreed upon. We had Redskins fans.
Yes, we did.
I'm sorry, I'm going to say Redskins. It's all right.
That's okay. That's what I would say it too.
Canceled.
Yeah, we had Eagles fans and we had Giants fans. We all said we all hate the Cowboys, so we're good.
Everybody hates the Cowboys.
I hate the Eagles more, though. I'm sorry.
It's crazy, dude. That is such a hot take.
Definitely don't like the Cowboys, but I definitely dislike the Eagles more.
Dude, that's such a hot take.
We've had this conversation.
It's a hot take, dude. Everybody hates Dallas.
Maybe it is. That's fine.
Piggybacking what Sean was saying, though, about the Lord's Prayer, it says, forgive yourself first. I always found that comical. Because it's like, whatever you're doing, it's like you feel like an absolute piece of garbage and you think I'm going to forgive myself without doing something else to maybe feel a little better first.
Well, and it's a selfish thought, right? I'm still thinking about me.
Yeah, like
right?
that should not be
the first. Thinking about me first and foremost.
First inkling, yeah.
Exactly. So, all right, Mr. G.A. Phillips, the floor is yours. Learn us something, son.
It's spooky season, boys. I was gonna say I was originally, I have a vault of spooky shit to talk about. So, but I was originally gonna do something a little bit more paranormal and talk about cursed movie sets because there are a plethora of them, right? But and films of legend, right? But a lot of that's kind of unsubstantiated and a little bit of he said, she said kind of stuff. So I was going to stick with it. We might unearth that maybe, at a later date. However, Sean's topic from last week kind of inspired me because of course, what's scarier than real life evil, right? And the horrific things that we can do to one another. So I picked the
government
somewhat
treatment center.
Man, yeah.
I
old
picked
podcast member.
Another
Winnie Zinger.
I picked another maybe lesser known serial killer to talk about tonight. So with that, and we really don't have a ton of time, so I'm gonna, this is gonna be an abridged version. But we're gonna talk about tonight Anthony Edward Sowell. who was an American serial killer and rapist known
What
as
was
the
the last name?
Cleveland Strangler. Sowell. Sowell. He was convicted in 2011 of murdering 11 women whose bodies were discovered at his Cleveland, Ohio home in 2009. He was born here in East Cleveland, Ohio, one of 7 children born to a single mom. Dad went out for milk and cigarettes, never came back type deal. Definitely grew up in an extremely abusive and traumatic household, according to his niece, Leona Davis, who, they moved in. There was a bunch of kids living in one house, but the mom subjected all the kids to physical abuse, up to and including like watching or making the children strip naked and get beat with electrical cords and whipped and stuff like that in front of one another. There was reported sexual abuse between Sowell and a couple of his female family members, starting at the age of 11. He did military service at the age of 18. He went into the United States Marine Corps. He was in the Marine Corps for 6 years or 7 years. I'm sorry. And he did receive an honorable discharge, after which he moved back to Cleveland. And in 1989, he was arrested after he attempted to sexually assault a 3-month pregnant woman. He had her hands and feet bound. He had her gagged. He was choking her. She reported that she thought she was going to die. She was able to escape that. So in 1990, he was charged with kidnapping, attempted rape. He served 15 years in prison for that. So he was released in 2005 and went back to living in Cleveland, working in a factory until 2007 when he began collecting unemployment benefits.
I'm guessing releasing him wasn't the best idea.
I'm guessing not either.
All right. I mean, what the hell?
Right. And this is kind of right in line with what we were talking about a little bit last week, which is kind of what led me to pick this one, obviously, and for close proximity to right here in my own backyard.
Yeah, you know him. You knew him. You went to school with him.
He began earning a living collecting scrap metal. Neighbors said that they complained
I did that once
to the health department of foul smells in the neighborhood, emanating from near and around his house. What a lot of people don't understand is this is not a neighborhood that many people would desire to live in. As a matter of fact, this particular neighborhood, which is in East Cleveland, it's called Mount Pleasant, and it is
it is not.
It is not. It's not pleasant. I'll tell you that. It is. It's one of those areas where you could have a street with 20 houses on it, and 4 of them might be livable and have occupants in them, at least registered occupants in them. That's just the kind of neighborhood it is. So yeah, a lot of people in the area are complaining throughout this time period. The first known murder that is occurred is in 2007 in May. A woman by the name of Crystal Dozier, who was a mother of 7, met with Anthony Sowell. She had been struggling with drug addiction after the death of one of her own children, and he offered her drugs to lure her into his home, where he raped and murdered her. Over the next 2 years, he kind of had this same MO, right? He would meet women on the street, women that, were victims of drug, addiction or had addiction problems. And he would, lure them in. Hey, it's my birthday. Hey, you want to come back and drink, smoke some crack with me, whatever. They'd wind up in his house. and they would not come out. So, but there are a couple stories of women who did make it out. The house, plainly enough, so this guy didn't do a really good job of hiding what was going on in the house, but due to the neighborhood that it was in, the fact that there was a sausage butcher shop next door, right, which often got blamed for some of the foul smell in the neighborhood.
So wait, his neighborhood, the house that he lived in, the neighborhood, there was a butcher shop in the neighborhood.
Yep. So it's right on the corner, and then his was the next house over, right? So and you'll have to excuse me for kind of jumping all over the place, but this is kind of how the stories are. In 2008, a woman by the name of, I'm gonna mess this up. I know I will. I know her last name's Gay. That's gonna sound terrible. It really is Gay. I believe it's Victoria. I believe it's Victoria.
Was it Clarice?
It is not Clarice. But she goes over there in 2008. Same kind of story. He met her at a liquor store, gets her over to the house. Under the guise of, hey, we're gonna party, we're gonna smoke some crack, whatever. He immediately attacks her. Sexually assaults her, and then has her kind of like laid up in bed with him. Like that was one of his things, right? Like he would keep them there like overnight, or try to keep them there with him. At one point she was able to, he gave her permission to get up and use the bathroom. When she went into the room across the hallway, which was not the bathroom, she saw like the decomposing torso of another woman, right? And she said she absolutely freaked out. Somehow she was able to convince this man not that she was not going to say a word. She played dumb about seeing the torso, and she said that she would not, turn him into police, tell him what he did if he would just let her go, right? So I guess he hung on to her for a little while more, did some more horrible things to her for sure, but then he actually did let her go. And she went, she says that, quote, that this is the moment leaving his house is when she lost all faith in the justice system and in humanity, as she passed by multiple people on the street in broad daylight, half naked and beat to hell, and nobody offered to help her. She went to police and filed a report. They went back. He was able to convince them that it was just a lover's quarrel, even though the police went into the house, saw signs of the struggle, did not, and obviously could smell the smells emanating from the house that the entire neighborhood was complaining about, and they chalked it up to a lover's quarrel and left. Right, that was in 2008.
Wow.
In 2009, Sowell invited Latundra Billups to his home to smoke crack.
That's a name.
Tundra, dude, huh?
That's a name.
Latundra.
This just sounds divine.
Yep. After a few drinks and a few hits, he became angry and hit, choked, and raped her as she passed out with an electrical cord around her neck. Let's see. I'm sorry. Just lost my. So, thankfully, she did regain consciousness, and again, he actually did allow her to leave. She says that she did go to police about it, but not initially, because she was freaked out and very scared about what she had seen. She was scared about the fact that she had drugs in her system, so she didn't go right away. Again, in like in the following weeks, this was right in like the end of September, beginning of October 2009, another woman named Sean Morris, same MO. She gets invited over to the house. He attacks her, he rapes her. He's holding her there for for an extended period of time. She waits until he falls asleep. She tries to escape. She can't get out of the house itself. So and this is caught on camera, by the way. There's a surveillance camera from a business that's catty corner across the street, and you can see her jump out of a third-story window, crash right through the glass, completely naked, fall 3 stories into a bush, and then you see him also naked run out the front door, and he's looking around for her. There's a chase that ensues, right? She ends up finding police naked, covered in blood, saying this man attacked her. And again, they are chalking it up to these are just 2 very high strung out. This chick's obviously a hooker. This dude's obviously a drug addict. They get them to the hospital where Sowell is able to convince her not to further press charges. And she's admittedly, I guess, just absolutely freaked out, and he leaves and nothing happens from it just yet. Fast forward another couple weeks, and we have another woman who is attacked in the same manner. She is able to escape. Like I said, he wasn't doing a very good job of covering things up, and he also obviously wasn't doing a very good job of keeping some of these women there. A lot of times what they would say is that he would smoke so much that he would end up kind of just passing out, in between the assaults and everything like that. And that's when they were able to escape. Finally,
I can relate to that.
With this third woman, she gets away. She runs to like a corner store a block away. The owner tells her, and again, she's naked, bloody, whatever. The guy tells her to get the hell out of his store. She's bleeding all over the place. She's gross. Get her out of there, whatever. She finally flags down police. And after 3 days, and now 3 separate incidents with the same man, reported incidents, because by this time, the Billups woman who has escaped previously has now gone to police and reported him. So they finally go to his house. And he's not there, but they have enough for a search warrant. And when they go in, they find what's been dubbed as a house of horrors, right? And it's kind of like, a legend around these parts, I guess you would say. But they find 11 bodies of 11 women.
Wow.
4 buried in his backyard. 4 buried in his crawl space. There is a human skull from one of the victims in a bucket in his basement. There are torsos in his walls. It is an absolute house of horrors, right? And the big thing to remember about this, man, is that again, from the time of the first in 2008, when the first woman escapes and goes to police, there are then 6 more women that are murdered in that time span between then and when he's caught, right? And which we'll kind of further get into. But yes, when he is caught, he's 50 years old. He'd been living at the location for 4 years. And like I said, in that 2-year time span, he had killed 11 women. So he's charged with those 11 counts of aggravated murder, 74 counts of rape, kidnapping, tampering with evidence, and abuse of a corpse. He pled not guilty by reason of insanity, later changing his plea to simply not guilty. This is one of those trials where the entire thing is they allowed videos inside the courtroom, so the entire thing is on video. And it's crazy because these women, the 3 women that got away, 2 of them were brave enough to get up on the stand and testify, and they're like pouring their hearts out, talking about how scared they, and you could tell, like they're sitting there in front of this guy and they're just absolutely terrified to be there, mortified to be telling stories of what was going on and everything like that in the middle of it. And this dude is just sitting there just absolutely emotionless, just a blank slate, right? At times he's cracking a smile and whatnot, but like zero emotion on this guy. Prosecutors recommended the death penalty. They ended up getting it. On July 22nd, 2011, he was convicted on all but 2 counts. But he was convicted on all 11 counts of murder, sentenced to death. He appealed it. The appeals didn't work. And he was sent to prison, and where he sat on death row until February 8th of 2021, where he died from an unspecified terminal illness, hopefully in a pretty painful way. One can only hope. Karma came back around.
Hopefully
to
a venereal disease killed him.
Yeah, something. But yes, all in all, 11 women, 10 of whom were mothers. One victim was 25. They ranged in age all the way up to 53. The families.
At least he wasn't an ageist.
True. The families of these women did go on to sue the city of Cleveland, and won, albeit it was like $1.3 million, you know, which is more than nothing, you know, but certainly not much. But they were able to secure that. The surviving women that got away were also able to file suit against the specific officers and the specific departments that were in charge of investigating those original claims, and kind of did nothing, and just chalked it up to, oh, you know, they're out there getting high. They'll come home when they want to. And one of the reasons why I picked this is because it does relate so closely to us too, right? Like, you know, like think about the way that society tends to look at all people that are suffering or going through something in this kind of way. And certainly, how often do you hear about the serial killer cases where they're specifically going after the unseen, right? The disposable people, if you will, right?
Yeah.
The easy
the
targets
drug addicts
of the drug addicts,
walkers.
you know, the sex workers, everything like that, you know. More famously in the news recently, the Gilgo Beach, they finally got the Gilgo Beach guy, right? You know, and that guy was on the loose for years, right? But he you know, you're killing people that society or whomever is, you know, chooses to deem as lesser than, because they're struggling, they're going through a problem. But at the end of the day, these are still somebody's daughter, somebody's son, somebody's mom, you know. So I think that's that. And again, it kind of relates to us, you know. Look no further than a place like, how many videos do you see coming out of Kensington, right? You know, and for those of our listeners that don't know what I'm talking about, maybe go look it up, man, because you know, these people, they're out here, you know. Maybe they don't want the help, you know, they need it, but maybe they don't want it right now, or whatever the case may be. And but it's crazy to think that those who are sometimes, and by no means am I out here to attack our boys in blue. I know personally know a lot of very wonderful police officers, but when something like this, that's this glaring and this kind of crazy happens, you know, when you have people that are coming to the police and telling you, like, look, there's a really sick dude out here who's doing some really sick, twisted shit, and then they go to investigate, and then the guy gets away with 6 more murders in a 16-month time span because you did shitty police work. You know, because again, the guy wasn't trying to hide it. The whole neighborhood knew something was up with that house. You know,
city cops are the worst, man. City cops. I mean, you never call city cops. They're the worst.
So, yeah, that's the shortened and abridged version. justice was somewhat served in this case. And
hopefully it was AIDS from penetration.
Yeah.
One can only hope.
Very good, Greg. You're always extremely good with those topics, and I appreciate it. Very interesting. There's something about this whole genre of storytelling that we're doing that just is morbidly fascinating, and yeah, it's very good. It's like an episode right out of Criminal Minds.
Just be careful with who you smoke crack with, Sean.
Well, that's a big thing, you know. I just like the part that he got so high that he couldn't keep his captives in captivity. I was like, I can relate to that. Not the captives part, but the just getting so high part, not being able to, you know, having to watch the same episode of Criminal Minds 6 different times. They kept nodding out.
Greg, I definitely super intrigued, and like I always like when you say that story or any kind of story, so then I'll go on a full spiral because I need to know why.
You going deep diving?
Right.
Yeah, and I got it right here at the why. You know what I mean? Where I'm sure you know that it said the relatives testified in the case, and they said testifying in his murder trial. Later years stated Sowell and plus his similar age nieces and nephews suffered severe physical abuse at the hands of his mother, including being stripped, bound, and whipped until drawing blood. And at age 11, Sowell allegedly began raping his then 10-year-old nieces.
Right.
Well, Dan, it's funny you say that. Not funny, but it's interesting you bring that up because just last week on this here podcast, I think Corey broached the subject of like, are these serial killers and people like this, these rapists, these whatever, are they pure evil? Or is it like severe mental health? Or is it a combination of both? And what is it? And we mentioned it last week too. That
is evil severe mental health? You know,
right?
Yeah.
Are they one and the same?
How a lot of these people were brought up that way, right? Like they never had a chance in some way because the same horrific things were done to them most of the time.
Yeah, I'm always interested in whether is it nature or nurture. Which one is it? Because depending on the case, it could be it could be either.
So, yeah. It's like when you get the bad kids in class, Sean, right? I blame the parent. I never blame the kid. It's like let me see your parents, boy.
Right. Well, we've saved the best for last. So Corey gets to go next week, and we can't wait. He's been building to this. He specifically said, guys, I don't want to go first or second. I want to go last because I've got something huge. And I'm doing all this research and putting all this work into it. And Corey, I just can't tell you how excited we are to.
I don't have a fucking clue what we're doing next week.
You.
Is this the first time you got the thunder stick?
What's a thunder stick?
Oh, you know what it is.
I think I know what it is.
Greg, thank you. That was awesome. Everybody else, Dan, thanks for being here tonight, man. It's so good to have you hanging out here in Florida, and you've extended your trip. Corey has convinced you to extend your trip another day plus, so that's pretty cool. So I'll see you tomorrow night at our recovery group. And Greg, we miss you. We missed you this weekend at the wedding. We will see you soon. We'll see you soon. We definitely will. Soon. So thank you, everybody. Janine. Producer Janine wants to invite.
Down.
Yeah.
Come on down. We're going to Flanagan's after, I'm sure. So shout out to our listeners. Please like, follow, and share on all socials at Trudge Report Pod. Email us, trudgereportpod@yahoo.com. Send in your mailbag requests for topics, questions, and comments to any of these handles. Remember to slide into Corey's DMs if you need something. We're all here. If anyone wants to talk about recovery and our experiences, or if you are struggling with some form of addiction, please don't go out and murder people. Please talk to someone. Thank you again to Janine and Stella Mix Podcast Management.
I'll be up till 3 a.m. on the Cleveland Strangler.
Good night. God bless, and may you trudge the road of happy destiny. We'll see you all next week.